Welcome, everyone, to the global consulting organization FutureCast. This is our multimedia platform for 2030 and beyond, where we share the ideas, inspirations, and ideals that will become the foundation for the future-built environment. I'm Amit Egan Datwani, founder and chief consultant of the global consulting organization, and on behalf of my fellow members of the GCO Collective, welcome you to our latest episode of the GCO FutureCast, a higher conscious perspective, maintaining equanimity during life's transitions. So how many of you out there are going through this really challenging time in your life where you find yourself asking or even saying, I don't know what is going on. Time is moving so fast. I don't even know what's real. I even sometimes don't even know who is real. Are you questioning who you can trust? Is the individual or entity that you are speaking to a bot? Is that entity even a human? Do you sometimes read things and ask yourself, who wrote that? Now, these are questions that are part of the existential life crisis that I've been speaking about since January. It is part of this greater reckoning where we are being called to question almost everything in our lives. And in today's FutureCast, I'm going to take this evolving dynamic and break it down in such a way that can ideally help you to feel a little bit more in control of the roller coaster of life. So when you're asking yourself these questions, I want you to go a little bit further and then even ask yourself about that voice that you have in your head. I know it's in there. I'm constantly battling it, what I like to refer to as the monkey mind, trying to keep it calm, trying to keep it balanced, trying to help it to stay more in the moment as we navigate this difficult transitional period. Now, understand that this period of transition that you may be going through is a tremendous opportunity for you to make certain changes in your life. Perhaps you have many mental blocks and emotional blocks that are preventing you from taking certain steps of growth in your life and transforming your personal built environment. Now, I know it's a lot easier said than done. And what I'm going to do in today's FutureCast is offer you 7 different perspectives that can ideally help you to maintain equanimity during this time of great transition, and ideally help you to do it with a higher conscious perspective. Number 1, looking at the way that you work. Now, I know this will be easier for some of you to do, especially those that work from home or entrepreneurs. We have many of them listening in. But there could be ways that, let's say you have to be in the office 3 to 4 days a week, where maybe you can have a conversation with your coworkers and your superiors about having a more balanced approach in the way that you work. There's this concept of microshifting, where I integrate this practice into my day-to-day working life by breaking up my day into several parts. I usually start my day around 5:30 to 6 in the morning, depending on what's happening with my son's basketball. And the first thing that I do is my meditation practice. I don't look to outside information for answers. As some of you may know, I talk to you about your IGS. I've even called it chat IGS, your inner guidance system. If you learn to tap into this, most likely it will not steer you wrong. And I say most likely because sometimes the inner guidance system takes us down a path that does not make sense, or it takes us down a path that we perceive to be the wrong turn. But in fact, when we back up, or when we look at the process from 35,000 feet up, or several months or years down the road, we realize that was a necessary step in our path. The inner guidance system, as you tune into it, helps you to fine-tune the different steps that you can take on a day-to-day basis to maintain this sense of calm, maintain this sense of balance, and maintain and anchor a sense of presence into all that you do. And that's the first thing I do in my day. It also helps me to determine the type of work I'm doing in the morning during my morning micro shift. This is a much larger conversation, but I'm just going to give you quick highlights. Usually around 12:30, sometimes a little earlier, depending on my meeting schedule, I'm taking a break for a couple hours. And what I do is I look to activity, some type of physical activity, going to the gym, yoga, going for a walk in nature, to then help me digest what I've gone through in the morning, help me to process that information, and more importantly, help me to plan the second shift of my day. Some of my best messages that I get internally come from this period of time in the middle of my day when I'm able to process what's come through in the first half. And then I'm planning my second half of the day and how to attack some of these topics that I'm very interested in further developing. I find this method very effective and helping me to avoid the quote unquote afternoon crash that I know many go through, that I went through for years. It helps me to come back to my office refreshed, super energized, and ready to close off my day on a high note. Number 2, developing a sense of your inner warrior energy to help you to fight the daily battles that you have to confront. And look, no matter what it may look like from the outside, everyone is fighting some type of battle. If you sit down with someone and they're going to be very honest with you and you're going to be very honest with them, and you go beyond the surface that you see on their Instagram, that you show on your Instagram, or maybe the fake book. I see a lot also on LinkedIn now. We will all discover that there is some type of battle that we are fighting. And now, this year especially, these battles are getting more and more pronounced. So what is it that you can do to tap in to this inner warrior energy that can help you to confront and fight and take on the daily challenges that you are to face every day? I use that time that I mentioned to you during my break in the middle of the day where I'm doing something physical. I'm tapping in. I have movement going in my body. I have music, high energy music, deep house or electronic music blasting when I'm in the gym. And it helps me to develop that sense of energy and inner connection that I need to take on the second half of my day. This may enable you to lock in rather than run away. And ideally, some type of practice similar to this can help you to live a more aligned and authentic life over the long run. Number 3, looking at the Masters golf tournament as inspiration for the development of a sense of presence. For those of you that are not familiar, the Masters Golf Tournament does not permit attendees to bring in their mobile phones. Anyone that I've spoken to, any accounts that I have read about this dynamic has been nothing short of inspirational. So many people talk about the great sense of presence that they get to experience for that one day they're at the golf tournament. The magic and beauty that is around them that they get to experience and they don't usually get to appreciate because they're so lost in what the digital devices may be feeding them. There's this great quote that I learned from a great spiritual master that I had studied with. And it goes something like this. I'm paraphrasing. Yesterday is a canceled check. Tomorrow is a promissory note. Today is a gift. So enjoy the present. What is it that you can do to integrate a greater sense of presence into your day-to-day life so that you can ideally start to experience that wonderful dynamic, no matter what it is that you're going through? Number 4, some of you may be familiar with the NIL movement, which stands for name, image, and likeness, which has become so prevalent in the world of sports. This is like the wild, wild west right now. It's in the process of rapidly evolving and developing. Where it's going, we don't really know, but that's the beauty of it right now. Why I am suggesting to look at the NIL movement for inspiration, where athletes are being paid for their quote unquote name, image, and likeness, is because it's a situation where athletes are being forced to not necessarily look to the long term for whatever situation that they find themselves in. Traditionally, athletes used to go to college, and in their minds, they thought, okay, this will be a program I will grow and develop with over the next 4 years, roughly speaking. Sometimes they thought, maybe I'll go to another school and I'll experience 2 schools during my college career. Now, it has rapidly changed where athletes are thinking on a year-by-year basis. And why I'm bringing this to your attention is they are being forced to be more in the present moment about the opportunity that is in front of them. It's this mindset of, I am grateful for this opportunity. Now let's see how and where it goes. You may find yourself in a new situation that has rapidly developed since the beginning of this year. And you find yourself being a little flustered on a day-to-day basis because it's not like how it used to be. It's not what you were taught for many decades. You thought it would be different. I didn't think my life would be like this. Sound familiar? If you find yourself in that type of situation, what I am suggesting is do not think that this is going to be the situation for the rest of your life. It could be a transition to a greater opportunity if you have a fluid mindset. Can you work on yourself to develop that mindset of, thank you for this opportunity. I'm really enjoying it. I'm growing as an individual. I can tell by my discomfort. Now, I'm excited to see where it goes. Try integrating that perspective into whatever challenge you may be going through right now and see where it goes. Number 5, my favorite. Why meditation is the new medication. As I said, the idea behind today's FutureCast is to help you to maintain a sense of equanimity during life's transitions. And for me personally, no matter what I am going through in my life, and trust me, I am going through a rapid and fast evolving sense of change and transformation right now. And what do I do every day? I anchor myself and I anchor my day with 1 hour, literally 1 hour. That's a non-negotiable 1 hour of meditation. My family and I have a trip planned in a few weeks for my son's basketball. It requires a very early morning start. It's a long commute. I have planned in my schedule to be up at 4:30, if not maybe 4 in the morning, so I can make sure to fit in my meditation. As many of you know, when you travel, sometimes the logistics can be a little challenging. In order to balance that potential external chaos, I do my best to solidify my inner anchor through the practice of meditation. That is my medication. I am not going to try to sell you a supplement, okay? This is free. You can look all over the internet and you will find different ways to learn the practice of meditation. And in order to help you maintain this sense of equanimity during this year of the existential life crisis, I highly, highly, highly recommend developing, even if it's for 5 minutes, the practice of meditation. It will help you to tap in to your inner guidance system, your chat IGS. It will help you to develop your intuitive intelligence, your inner tutor, your inner teacher that we all have access to. And I can assure you, the external chaos that you may be experiencing right now, whatever chaos that may be, it may just be the flood of information coming at you. It could be all the influences and influencers trying to gain your attention. It could be all that information that comes to you from artificial intelligence. It could be any form of external chaos. All of this can be balanced by developing the practice of meditation. Number 6, why convenience times experience equals well-being. As some of you who have listened to us for the past 4 or 5 years, you know this idea of convenience, experience, and well-being are at the heart of our teachings. And I'm going to share with you this perspective of these 3 factors being important, however, from the sense of helping you to maintain a sense of equanimity. This is a very big topic and one I'll continue to speak about in the years ahead. But for this FutureCast, I want you to look at your life for a moment. Look at those activities that you participate in on a day-to-day basis where you know they are throwing you off track because they are not in alignment with where you want to take your life in the years ahead. Now, break it down a little further. Think about those activities. I know you can't get rid of all of them all at once, but is there one of those activities or responsibilities that you take on a day-to-day basis that you can perhaps simplify? Can you plan your daily logistics in a little bit of a more efficient and streamlined fashion? Can you make something a little bit more convenient, even if it's a matter of shaving off 15 minutes, which you can then use for your meditation practice, by the way? I 80% guarantee you, I'm not going to do 100. That's my disclaimer. If you're able to find certain activities that you can remove, your experience of life will start to get better. Maybe not in the short term because you have that habit of doing whatever it is for many years now. But if you can simplify your life by removing something that just you're getting that nudge from universal intelligence that's telling you that it's time to remove this dynamic or person, and you're just hesitating, this is your prompt to just do it. Just do it. This summer. It's summer 2026 coming up. Try and lighten your load just a little bit and see if it helps you to experience a greater sense of well-being. Try it out. What's the worst that can happen? Number 7, what does it mean to create your own happiness formula? Let's be honest. What is at the heart of almost everything that we do? If you look underneath, ideally, it's to create a greater sense of happiness and well-being, isn't it? If it's not for your own happiness and well-being, maybe you do something because you know it will bring another a greater sense of happiness and well-being. I can tell you as a father, there is no greater feeling than bringing your child a greater sense of happiness. It is one of the most profound feelings in the world to see your child experience a sense of joy, happiness, and well-being because of something that you did. So I'm asking you, what are some of the key components in your life that can help you to further define and improve upon your happiness formula? And why is it that you are doing things that are taking you away from that sense of happiness? Is it a sense of obligation? You know there's that gnawing feeling in your gut, in your heart, that is speaking to you, that is urging you to change the direction of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis because it is causing a deep sense of suffering. You know when you're looking at something. For example, if you find yourself spending an hour a day looking at Instagram, monitor yourself because you're developing this greater sense of presence and inner awareness. Look at yourself from a higher conscious perspective. What is going on in your mind in that moment while you are looking at that Instagram post? Are you comparing yourself to that idealized version of that individual and that individual's life in that moment? And then what is the result of that specific interaction that you had with that post? I'm giving you a tangible example of something that you can eliminate. Hey, if it's working for you and you leave that doom scrolling session feeling energized and inspired, eliminate my voice, okay? But for the most part, if you find that whatever it is that you're doing, maybe it's the interaction you're having with a certain individual, that you're leaving and you find yourself feeling horrible because of some of the things that that individual said, maybe you eliminate that person from your life. If you find yourself not enthusiastic and energized about going to work every day, maybe it's time for a career change. Try to look at your sense of happiness and bring it to the forefront of your day-to-day living. Look, this gradual unfolding of a higher conscious perspective requires time, commitment, and dedication in order to activate a conscious, connected, and expansive way of being. Maintaining equanimity during life's transitions can help you to harness the power of self-awareness and courage to flourish as systems, structures, and institutions continue to break down in the years ahead. Cheers to 2030 and beyond.